Okay, what's happening, everybody? We are live for another Periscope chat. It's been a while since I've rapped at you all, so hopefully I remember how to do it. It's been, I think, a little over a week since we've done one of these. Kind of fun having these West Coast games so we can chit-chat while the game is going on. Byron Buxton at the plate as we speak. If you're listening to this on the audio side of things, whether it's iTunes, Libsyn, Stitcher, Google Play, or anything like that, I apologize for going live during the game because that won't exactly be relevant if you're listening to this in the morning, but we'll see what happens here. If you are checking us out on Periscope, thank you very much for doing that. Please feel free. If you're going to leave questions, you can leave them on the screen here, or you can tweet them to me. I'll bring my tweet deck down and have it on the screen in front of me so that we can discuss whatever you want, whether it's, the Twins playing right now, the MLB draft on Monday. I don't know if we'll have another one of these shows before that. We will have on Monday, probably playing on Tuesday, the next episode of Midwest Swing, Catching Up with the Catcher. I don't know if you guys enjoyed that or got a chance to hear it last time, but did have Chris Jimenez on the program. Was a lot of fun. For a backup catcher, he has a lot to offer in terms of just kind of fun stuff to talk about. Probably ask him about pitching this week. I believe his wife is like a fitness model. We might bring up some of that too because it looks like she's kind of like quote-unquote internet famous. So we can talk to him about that. We can ask him about pitching 4 times this year already and what it was like to throw to Eduardo Escobar. And, whatever else, if you guys have some things, you can feel free to tweet to me as well. He is, though, a very fun guy to chat with and has a lot of insight. More than you might expect a guy that doesn't play every day as far as leadership and all that. So check it out. It was last Monday or the Monday before. It was the Monday before that we posted it. So make sure to check that out because it was actually a really fun show. Did see someone mention about Buxton bunting. Yeah, last night he bunted, I think it was a 1-0 pitch back to the pitcher, and it's just like, I don't know what the mindset is there, because 1-0, you're in a hitter's count. I don't know. Somebody, I think it was Ben and Tal just asked, or no, Steve Herman just asked if it should be an automatic steal here. Personally, probably, because Adrianza, for as well as he's been hitting, is not an offensive dynamo. A while back I did make fun of Dan Gladden for calling Adrianza a good hit-and-run guy, but I think actually he's probably onto something there because Adrianza does have fairly good contact rates. Now, with that said, I'm not sure that I trust Dan Altavilla to throw strikes enough to put a guy in motion. And again, I don't like the idea of motion or whatever just for the sake of, moving things around, because it doesn't necessarily put pressure on the defense when these are big leaguers that are capable of making these plays night in and night out. Mike Zunino, pretty good defensive catcher, although I know he has struggled so far this season. So I really don't want to give away any outs with Adrianza at the plate, because then you really lose any potential for a big inning. Let's see, if Adrianza's up, I suspect that would mean Dozier's on deck. So I don't really have a good answer one way or the other, because it would be nice to have someone with someone on second base with Adrianza up, because Adrianza's most likely to hit a single if he hits anything to bring that run home. But you're also going to close out an inning much more quickly and avoid letting Dozier bat here in the 9th inning if you run into an out. And there he goes. So, oh my, that's going to be 2 bases. All right, so on the pitch there, wild pitch, and Buxton picks up third. So pick the right pitch to run on. Credit to them there. I saw someone commented that Adrianza will hit a dinger next, just because. That'd be great too. As I tweeted earlier, Adrianza has 3 career home runs. They've come off Clayton Kershaw, Kenta Maeda, and Andy Pettitte. So he's hit some home runs off some very high-profile pitchers in his career, and again, and off nobody else. So it's kind of amazing. I'm sorry, guys. I'm ruining it for you. Ooh, Adrianza just fouled it back. I'm just kidding. I'm just messing with you guys. So yeah, if you guys, we can chat about whatever you want. I will try to stay away from in-game updates because it's not going to be that relevant to people listen tomorrow. Again, though, if you want me to answer your questions on the air, feel free to put them on Twitter at Brandon_Warren, just because then they're going to stay up on the screen that I have beneath this, as opposed to on the phone screen, which is very temporary. So, anyway, I did see Steve Ehrman ask what I'm drinking. It's just 2 gingers and Coke Zero. So, not terribly exciting, but I'm in the midst of a big house cleaning project with the baby coming here. Turned 3 weeks old 2 days ago. We have not had very much time to keep the house up to speed, so I cleaned up the entire upstairs this evening while I was working, and now after this, while this is uploading to YouTube, I'm going to finish the rest of the house while the wife and baby sleep, so that they can get some rest, which is good. I did see Jairus Tinklenberg, I think, said something about what's going on with Kenta Maeda. Yeah, for as good as his numbers were last year, and he said he was out of the rotation, I don't think he was ever as dominant as, he didn't get a strikeout per inning last year and had some really nice numbers, but I just don't think that, it was ever consistent with the kind of pitcher he was in terms of his ability. He's not a dominant strikeout per inning guy or anything like that. And I think he's just going through a tough time right now, to the point where he's going to have to just regroup and find himself again. I think that was the case with Gibson too. I tweeted about an hour ago that people wanted him to be DFA'd a month ago. I'm not seeing he's back to good. Copyright Matchbox 20 about 15 years ago. But it's just that he's keeping the team in games, which is giving them a chance. The offense is good enough when you give them a chance. Now, granted, tonight against Christian Bergman, 2 runs is not enough either. So it's they've let some pretty bad pitchers off the hook in the last, what did I tweet last night? The last few days, as far as Nolasco and Mike Fires, I'm not sure how you say that. And then even last night against Giovanni Gallardo before Miguel Sano hit the home run. Those are pitchers you got to dominate, because then you'll go through stretches where maybe the next time you face the Astros, you get Keuchel, McCullers, and Morton, which is 1, 2, 3, boom, 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 where you don't really have a chance to regroup. So you really got to take care of these things while the getting is good. And the Twins, I despite being fairly good this season, I just feel like have not done a very good job with that. So I don't know. That's just my take. Jairus wants to know, what is a single stat that is the best indicator of offensive value? Weighted on base average, weighted runs created, plus OPS or other. I like weighted runs created plus. I like weighted on base average. It's scaled to OBP and all that fun stuff. But the weighted runs created plus is going to give you the adjustment for different factors to kind of make sure that so that a 333 weighted on base average for someone who plays at Petco might be better than someone who plays at Coors, and so on. So I think weighted runs created plus is probably my favorite one. I think OPS plus is pretty good too. And you'll usually find that OPS plus and weighted runs created plus are pretty similar, actually, I've found. And the nice thing is that with weighted runs created plus, OPS plus, you can do multiple years summations. So, for instance, if you wanted to look at what Joe Mauer had done for this year combined with last year, OPS plus, you could do that very easily. Whereas with weighted runs created plus, until just recently, you could not do that. Now you can do it's like a custom search on Fangraphs. Sean Dolinar made that available on the site, so you can do custom date searches and then switch based on career numbers and based on season numbers and all that fun stuff. So not only that, but Fangraphs, where I write on Thursdays or Fridays, it's going to be Friday this week, just did a new site update. So check that out as well, because they're always doing some new fun things there. Colin Kemp wants to know, 100 weighted runs created plus is league average. Is that correct? Yes. It's scaled to 100 just like OPS plus is, and so it's Yeah, it's pretty easy to remember. Steve Ehrman says, going to be watching First Pick at the stadium on Monday. Yes. Tom and I will both be at the stadium on Monday. I will record catching up with the catcher. We'll both probably talk to Paul Molitor, and then I will prepare to go upstairs. The draft, the war room is basically above where Barrio is. 3 levels is where the executive offices are, and they have everybody up there, whether it's Sean Johnson and anybody else who's on the scouting group. And then they put us in a little conference room. We get to talk to whoever the number 1 overall pick is once they get them on a conference call for us, whether it's Kyle Wright, Hunter Green, whoever. So, yeah, I'll be covering it from the stadium, and I'll probably do what I did last year, which was a running blog of the picks that they make that first night. I know there's 3 of them in the first 35 or 37 picks, which should considerably help rebuild this farm system that has declined a bit with graduations to the big leagues. Andy Naslund wants to know, is there a position you could see the Twins trading for other than pitching? I don't know. I mean, I think if I was going to make a move, I really like a Christian Yelich kind of guy. If you could get him to hit the ball in the air, he would be a stud. I just don't know that that's in the cards. I don't know that they want to give up a lot for someone. Ideally, if you're going to give up a lot for someone, it's going to be someone you have many years of control of. So I don't know what the level of control is on Yelich. I suspect it's at least a couple more years. I don't have that in front of me. I could pull it up here quick. But that's the kind of guy who... If I'm looking to make a move, it's for an outfielder with multiple years of control. And he signed through 21 with a 22 option for the team. So yeah, I would give up a lot for Christian Yelich because look at how productive he is while hitting the ball on the ground 3 times as often as hitting the ball in the air. I mean, in that case, even just a simple tweak, and you're looking at a guy who is a stud. Now, do I know that that's necessarily possible? I don't know that it's possible to make that adjustment midstream because keep in mind, Joe Mauer has been the kind of hitter that he has been for so long, and there was just no really changing him. Jarvis wants to know, Nick Gordon and Tyler J for Yelich. Who says no? Probably the Marlins. I think for the Marlins to make that deal, they probably need another piece. I'm not saying you're not on the right track, but instead of J, they'd probably want Gonsalves. I think they'd want Romero. You would counter with Gonsalves, and then you'd probably have to give up a third piece. And I might do that, honestly. I don't know. I mean, maybe it would be an unpopular move, but I would also consider trading Eddie Rosario in that kind of deal. If they want a younger guy with more control, we would have to see about that. I'm not saying they'd want Eddie Rosario because honestly, I don't imagine he's got that much more value than what he has to the Twins. I don't know about that, so it'd be interesting to see. I did see Jarvis ask if teams covet Romero over Gonsalves. I don't know. I think that I think that teams would prefer Romero, but I don't know. They might prefer Gonsalves. I just think I'd prefer to move Gonsalves over Romero because I think Romero's got the higher ceiling. I don't know. That's just what I have to say. And Javen Omscheid wants to know if Corey Knebel is a good trade target if the Brewers fall out of the race. I don't know. I don't think they're going to want to trade relievers with years of control, short of getting a really great deal like they did for Tyler Thornburg, which was Travis Shaw, Mauricio Dubon, and then I think there was one other piece in there that's a little less high profile. I'm not willing to pay that kind of price for a reliever like that. A reliever's just way too much up and down. And in the case of Thornburg, he hasn't even pitched for the Red Sox this year, whereas Travis Shaw has a bunch of home runs, having a really nice season for the Brewers. Dubon is playing, I think, a fairly good shortstop down in I think it's Double-A, but good looking player. Not a ton of power, but he's pretty good. And so no, I mean if I was looking at relievers, I still think the Twins have the pieces for a good bullpen as far as internally with Hildenberger, with Nick Turley, Alan Busenitz, Mason Melitakis. Depends on what Jake Reed ends up doing if he gets back to things and all that. I think they got some options internally that I would look at here before too long. JEL wants to know if Turley's getting a major league start soon. I mean, I know they're still looking for somebody on, is it Sunday? I think they're still open for, which would be the last game in the San Francisco series. I mean, I think Chris Heston makes a ton of sense to make that start, but I don't know if it's going to be set in stone. I think today was his day to start, so he would be lined up. Not having, it wouldn't be a Tepish situation where he had sat for like 15 days without getting into the game, which was really brutal. I mean, really not ideal. So I don't know. I think Heston probably gets that start. But Turley is lined up. Turley started the night that Santiago started. Turley struck out 15 batters against, I think it was Scranton Wilkes-Barre. So, the guy that I talked to that saw a lot of Turley at Chattanooga still felt like, I don't know, I just think that that he looked more like a reliever, he said. So, I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. Brad Simon says, I'm watching you just sit there. Do you have these ready to go? He's referring to my tweet for Brandon Kinsler, hashtag Mom Spaghetti, when he comes in the ninth inning, and then the win gif. Industry secret, actually not really. I keep a folder with whatever gifs I find that I like on my desktop. The trouble is I don't have it on my work laptop, so I'm covering a Twins game. I got to find them over again. And then when I'm on my phone, I have to find something else to, I don't know, I just like to have fun with it. I think people like it. If people told me to stop, I probably would stop. But no, I had it pulled up and ready. So they're a lot of fun for me. And honestly, if I can have fun with this, that's part of the deal. So Jaron Duffy says, who's the next reliever you would like to come up? I'll tell you this much. I did not think Randy Rosario was next on the list. That's for darn sure. He was fabulous, though, in May, as I've said on multiple platforms. Held batters to a 4-for-46 line in May. I mean, I don't care if you're at Double-A or Triple-A. That's solid. And so I'm a little surprised he's had such a rough go of it. And, it wouldn't stun me if after tonight's game he got sent back. I think Kenny Vargas could be sent back because they really don't need Vargas when they're playing in San Francisco. And I think Polanco will eventually be ready to come back in the semi-near future. We'll see. But I think I think it was Jarvis said he thought he wanted Melitakis, which I think is probably a fairly good pick. I think that Ben Entel says Presley will be back soon. Jaron says Trevor Hildenberger. I think that's a good pick as well. Don't sleep on Alan Busenitz, though. I mean, he has been really, really good, throwing really hard, limiting base runners, and doing all the things you want a middle reliever to do. I think his stuff is the one that profiles the most as far as late inning if they're going to squeeze someone into that kind of role. Melitakis will probably eventually be the kind of guy who can get lefties and righties out, but I don't know if he's a super late inning guy. We'll see about that. Jarvis wants to know what the scouting report is on John Curtis, who is, last I checked, hadn't given up a run in Chattanooga. All I really know is he throws absolute gas. I did watch one of his appearances at Chattanooga on MILB.TV, which is basically the minor league version of MLB.TV. And he was hitting 98 with just awesome fastball velocity. So I do know he's got really good stuff, and he's legit. It's not one of these, I guess pun intended, Johnny-come-latelys, but he throws the living hell out of the ball. And so he's definitely in the mix as well. Probably want to get his feet wet at AAA because I think I don't know if he battled some arm stuff or what, but I feel like seems to me he's a little behind the eight ball as far as preparation or as far as how long it's taken him to get where he is. which is to Chattanooga, where he's killing it. I mean, he's picked up right where Nick Birdie left off, which is obviously very impressive. When these guys that throw hard come up, where does Kinsler move to? Still closer? Yeah, I think Kinsler's probably going to close for a while. Thanks for the question, Andrew. The issue is you very rarely will bring a guy up and drop them right into the ninth inning just because of the volatility as far as what they provide in terms of skill. It's not that these guys don't throw hard or have good stuff. It's just that, in my estimation, Ryan Presley has the best stuff of all the relievers in the Twin system right now. It's just he's got no idea what he's doing with it. He can't get it to do what he wants. And when he's not throwing first pitch strikes with the fastball, he's going to have to come back to it with fastballs up in the zone. People are crushing him, and he just gets too predictable. Part of me wonders if he's tipping some things too as well. So it's not about stuff necessarily. There is a poise factor or an experience factor that we'll see what happens there. Last question I'm going to take. I'm sorry we're out of time here because if I go too much longer, it won't upload on my phone. JEL wants to know, what does the ceiling for Angel Villalma look like? I think he's a future utility player. I don't think that he hits enough to stick in the big leagues offensively. But I do think that he's got Adrianza upside. He's much younger. If he hits just a little more than Adrianza, that's a really nice utility player. He's probably the kind of utility player that hangs on. Could push Eduardo Escobar off the roster eventually. But if you've got those two guys, that's obviously a pretty nice setup. Okay, last question, I swear. J_Early, I'm not sure what it is, wants to know, how many games out or what record would make the Twins be a buyer in July. At 500, I would look to survey the market. At 5 games over, I'd probably think about buying. 8 games is where I'd be really serious about it. Part of it to me is the Twins are still overachieving, even though I did say they were going to win 80 games this year. And it's about the winning window. If you're going to pry it open in the first year, I'd rather you fling it open next year, which means to me that I would rather see them do good things in the offseason, like sign Lance Lynn, sign Alex Cobb. Maybe you go big with Yu Darvish if Thad Levine really likes him enough to give him a 7-year deal with an opt-out after 3, whatever. But I can't get on board with trading a bunch of pieces for a big-time arm this year. I'd rather just sign it in free agency and give up the pick if you have to. If Darvish gets traded, which is a very real chance, there'd be no pick tied to him at all because he wouldn't have spent the full year on a team, which is pretty exciting. Lance Lynn, I would happily give up a pick for. A very, very good pitcher, and he'll only be 30 heading into next season. He turns 31 next May. So, a couple of the guys I'd be looking at for sure. Anyway, guys, I got to get out of here. I got to get some work done. We will chat again real soon. Maybe we can talk tomorrow night. We'll see what happens. I'm going to have some family in town to visit the baby. But I do like hanging out with you guys. Thanks for joining. Peace.